Digital devices are becoming more common in modern societies around the world, and it may seem that keyboards are becoming alternatives to handwriting. But what experts are saying is that writing by hand never goes out of style. Most people would usually view their handwriting as mere letters on paper, but a graphologist sees things from a different perspective. It is the simplest way to carry out a personality assessment. Oladipupo McJob is Nigeria's pioneer graphologist and forensic document examiner. Although a pharmacist by training, he has always been fascinated about psychoanalysis. His research on human behavioral pattern led him to the Body Language Institute in Virginia, and the journey for him began from there.
Each person's writing is peculiar to him or her. Even twins, no two handwritings are the same. The basis for graphology is on the assumption that the central nervous system, that's the brain and the spinal cord, directly influence the movement of the hand. So what we call handwriting actually is brain writing. The signals come from the brain. They only travel through the muscles of the fingers, through the nerves, onto the paper. Graphology can talk about your drives and motivation. It can talk about your intelligence level. It can talk about your fears and defenses. It can talk about your physicality. It can reveal all that. You are an extrovert, you are an introvert, all those basic things it can reveal.
With the handwriting accepted as a powerful and unique quality of every human being, how then can it be incorporated into the socio-political space and other areas of life?
There's nothing stopping a graphologist from analyzing the handwriting samples of electorates or candidates for an election. That happens outside the country. I've written something while during the first term of the President Donald Trump, for example. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, there was a time I did an analysis on the two handwriting samples. And if somebody should refer to it now and compare with what is happening in the United States, I'm sure you'll have wondered whether I entered into the brain of Donald Trump, And there are several other graphologists that do that. But do we even have a handwriting bank for public servants? That's one of the things that I'm trusting that I should be able to. I don't know how I'm going to go about it, but that should be part of the criteria. Can we have your handwriting sample? The handwriting show potentials. Somebody that is well calculated, somebody that is good with numbers and all that, you can see from the handwriting, that can help the electorate to make better choices, at least informed choices or decisions. We should be able to have Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, for example, having graphology as part of the curriculum for HR managers. That would transform what is happening in the country, because there are some people that shouldn't be employed. When you employ them, they get frustrated. When they get frustrated, one day or the other, they resign. When they resign and they're out of job for years, crime becomes attractive after a while. For every police officer, you must know basics about handwriting analysis. So, but the question is, how many policemen in the country know how to read the handwriting? I stand to be corrected, but I'm not sure they are up to 20. If we are using graphology in helping to narrow down criminal investigations, for example, we can say that, out of these 4 handwriting samples, they said one of these guys stabbed or murdered someone. From the samples we have from the assessment of those samples, we should be able to narrow it down and say, this one has aggressive tendencies. So the potential does not mean that it will become a kinetic. The potential is there that you can hit somebody, but that you will do it or not, that is beyond what graphology can handle. And that's beyond what any social science or psychological science can handle. But it can say that this person has a tendency, and most times you find it that way.
The awareness about graphology is still building up gradually. McJob believes the way to leverage on the massive opportunities it presents for education, relationship, criminal investigation, and others is to put the initiative into institutions.
Every teacher should know the fundamentals to look out for in the handwriting of the students. There's something called threat assessment. When you look at the handwriting of the student, you are seeing signs that show aggression, signs that show depression. before they commit suicide, they get to depression stage. And that, by the way, that is one area graphology has been found to be useful. And there are studies on this. Suicidal tendencies. Sometimes you pick it in the handwriting. When you notice that a child that usually would be very active, very excited, is detaching, you need to start asking questions proactively, not reactively. We are too reactive in our approach to managing issues in this country. And that's one of the problems we are having. Graphology, it's more of a proactive measure in solving problems. You can't start analyzing the handwriting of a confirmed Boko Haram person. It's not going to work. It's already killing people. But before it gets to that stage, what can we find out? Is he getting depressed? Is he getting aggressive? What is causing the aggression? Is he saying the dad beat the mom? All these things register in the mind of a child. So if a teacher knows what to look out for example, from the handwriting, because it's not all the time they will talk to you, and that's why nonverbal intelligence is fantastic. So it's not about what you say, it's about how you are saying it. So sometimes it is what you don't say that matters. It's about your body language. From your handwriting, we can say that you are getting distracted in school. A parent that knows what to look out for in the handwriting of the child can tell that the child is getting distracted in school, even if the school is covering it up. So the opportunities are massive. For forensic document examination cases, we handle issues that have to do with suspect documents or question documents. So if you are having an issue with a will written by a deceased, and there are issues regarding that will, maybe they are claiming that the signature on the will is not consistent with what you have in other checks signed by the deceased. So the lawyer can get the forensic document examiner involved in it. So you can get a call and say, okay, we need you to help us prove beyond reasonable doubt that this check was actually forged, or this check was actually signed by our client that is now late. So you can work based on that. You can also be an expert witness in the courts. Quite a number of lawyers are still not really aware, are still not really tapping into some of the benefits here. And I feel it's something that is going to help the country generally. So you have a case that has to do with forgery, wills, landed issues, codicils, tax, receipts, anything that has to do with forgery I'm not clear about, you can get a forensic document examiner to look into it, and you should be able to get justice.
Let's now put this skill to a test.
While you were writing it, the first thing that I saw in your handwriting is that you are somebody that loves to be, you are orderly, you are organized. Now, I've not been to your house, but I'm sure everything has its own space, and you are laughing. I said something like that. Graphology is the fastest way you psychoanalyze anybody. We have not spoken along this line, have we? No. Okay, so the first thing that was very clear, and I think your company should be happy that they have you, because the area you are managing is very important. It has to do, you're also somebody that loves details, which is good. That shows from the way you are written.
And that's absolutely correct. Due to its accuracy, many people are yet to understand the dynamics of graphology, and naturally they query the outcome.
I've had people call me names, even some places I went and did trainings, because of the accuracy of the revelations in the graphological analysis I gave. Somebody called me a name that I was a soothsayer. Some are very concerned because they feel that it's a little bit mystical. They feel that it's diabolic. So some are like that. They feel that because it doesn't look scientific, but everything about it is scientific.
McJob says the starting point to boost acceptance is to raise awareness, and he does this through his numerous training programs.
Part of the vision is to have a school where graphologists can be trained, or prospective handwriting experts can come to learn. For now, we just have a training session by our consulting company. So we do it in 3 stages. We call it BSc, Basic, Standard, and Certification stages of the training. For the school, That's Handwriting Analysis Professional Institute, HAPI. That's part of the projection we have in the future. We're trusting that very soon in the nearest future we'll be able to kick that off and have different partners to help come on board for it. Okay, so
research has shown that only 7% of communication is verbal, while the remaining 93% is non-verbal. This alone underscores the relevance of graphology in every society. McJob hopes to keep pushing for awareness and is currently working on a movie project to showcase graphology and its benefits to the world. Oyi Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.